Jess, welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm recapping episode 5 of Real Housewives of Potomac. This episode was a major setup for the drama that's coming next week, and I'm honestly really ready for next week, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We can go ahead and dive in for me to give y'all my thoughts about this episode. Let's be present, let's be here, let's be in the now, okay? So, y'all know I have my notes so I can keep up with everything. I really appreciate this conversation that we were privy to with Mia, her husband, and her kids at this lovely picnic spread that she had set up. Child, it was parasols and silk pillows and stuff. I was like, okay, Marie Antoinette, give it to us. I was really able to relate to that a lot. Mia was talking about how she works a lot in order to make sure that her kids have everything, and in order to make sure that they never want for things in the way that she had to want for things when she was growing up. And, you know, her son expressed that he does feel like she works a lot. And that was her explanation. It's just, I want you to have the things that I didn't have. And that made me think about two things. Number one, I remember when I was growing up, my mom worked a lot of hours. I did not see my mom very often for the first 10, 12 years of my life. You know, like she would obviously, you know, wake me up in the morning and like I would see her before bed, but my mom worked a lot of hours in order to make up for the deficit in our home income from my dad just not having to pay a whole lot for child support. And my mom just really wanted us to still have a good life, even though we were no longer living in a 2-parent household. She just didn't want us to have to go without, you know, the things that she didn't have to go without because she grew up in a 2-parent household. And I remember having a similar conversation with my mom when I got older, because one of the blessings of getting older, especially if you develop awareness, is that you actually get to know your parents as people and not just as your parents, and you're able to give them some grace and some leeway for the ways in which maybe they didn't show up for you in ways that you wanted to. And I remember having a similar conversation with my mom of like, I feel like I would have preferred to have you as opposed to certain other things, but you know, I'm blessed at least now that after that, you know, time, we were able to spend more time together, and we spend time together all the time now. We talk all the time now. So our relationship was definitely different when I was younger, but I understand Mia's perspective as well. And I wonder sometimes if people who grow up with different forms of neglect, be it financial, emotional, environmental, whatever, if they overcorrect in the way that they raise their kids because they don't want their kids to experience what they did. But I always wonder if people are also cognizant of the fact that it's a different time. Your kid is a different person than you. So your kid may have completely different needs from what you need. And so I wonder if there's like wiggle room for that. But I did appreciate that conversation that she had with her son while he is still, you know, young enough for her to be around more for his formative years. So I really felt like I could relate to that conversation a whole lot. And again, I'm happy that they had that communication. Looking at Candace and Chris's house, I know that COVID set everything back in terms of shipping. It was really hard to get a lot of stuff, especially in a timely manner. COVID set the world on fire a bit, well, a whole lot, but I am so curious about, and that's their explanation for why they still don't have a lot of furniture. Why couldn't they have just brought some of the furniture from their townhouse over to this new house, at least for filming? Because that bedroom, I would not have allowed that to be filmed. I know IRL, when people move into a new home, it looks real sparse. You know, that's just the reality of what it means to move into a new home, and it takes time to furnish it. Hell, that's true for an apartment, you know. But for the sake of filming, y'all can get no stage furniture or just bring the furniture from the townhouse, especially before it's sold. I just have questions about, like, why couldn't we do something a little bit more, a little bit better there? Do y'all remember what Candace's beef is with Ashley? I don't remember why Candace has such strong feelings towards Ashley. I was asking somebody about this on Twitter while I was live tweeting, and is it because Ashley wrote the letter for Monique last season? Is it about the fight that the husbands had last season? Like, what exactly is Candace's lingering beef with Ashley? I don't get it. I thought it was very beautiful, the two boys meeting. I love that they're like 18 months apart. My brother and I are like 18 months apart. And I just feel like it's like the perfect amount, of time between siblings. It was very cute and very sweet. And Dean is just looking like he's falling right into being a big brother. So that's just so sweet. Gizelle pops over and the baby immediately shat, which, okay. That's a thing that happened. I don't recall hearing about or seeing about these rumors of Eddie cheating, but Gizelle seems really invested in Wendy's behavior in relation to these cheating rumors. Now, is it possible that there's some correlation there? Maybe. But is it also entirely possible that Wendy has had 3 kids and really just wanted to do some body touch-ups, as some women like to do? It's interesting how much I feel like Gizelle really jumps at the opportunity to criticize, poke at, ask questions about other people's marriages, especially because she did not handle people doing that with her relationship with Jamal at all. But I feel like she pounces on the opportunity to criticize people's marriages or to kind of poke holes in their stories. So it's going to be interesting to see that whole thing play out, especially in the next episode. We get to see Wendy doing some professor work, right? She's recording a lecture, and this conversation that Wendy keeps having about, I'm a political commentator, but I curse like a sailor. That's true for most people. I'm a professor, but I want to wear like an off-the-shoulder shirt. An off-the-shoulder shirt is not giving what you think is giving. It's just an off-the-shoulder shirt. And if you wanted to present topless, that's a different conversation. But she's like, this is who I really am. Yes, people contain multitudes. I understand that we tend to feel people want to box us in, but that's not really our business. It's not really our business to adhere to other people's standards of who we should be. What you should be doing is discovering who you are and presenting as that. And I think the more we do that, the more the whole normalized thing, if you want something to be normal, then just walk that walk. And you don't have to do the absolute most to declare, oh, this is just who I am. Just be who you are. Just be it. Just do it. I don't think anybody is going to lose any sleep over you doing a lecture in an off-the-shoulder athleisure, leisure wear jersey top. Like, what was the big deal about that? I think that some of that is her own internalized ideas about how women are supposed to present, especially women in academia. But I think you just be yourself and lean into that. And I guess if someone has a problem with it, then that's a conversation that you can have. But I just don't think that and again, I'm not in academia, so I don't know, but it just doesn't seem to me that an off-the-shoulder shirt is that big of a deal, especially a slouchy off-the-shoulder shirt. Like, what are we talking about here? Kudos to Eddie, because I think that Eddie was actually being quite gracious in having this conversation with Wendy about the amount of things that are on her plate and the fact that she's also trying to throw this home essentials thing in the mix. I think she's trying really hard to sell us on why she wants to also do a home essentials line and to say like, oh, these are all these different parts of me. Sure, but if people don't know about those parts of you, it's reasonable that people would question, since when do you want to be the Black Martha Stewart? We have not seen that part of you on this reality show. If that is a legitimate part of you, why haven't we seen it yet? Or were you just maybe not as comfortable on camera last season, which was your first season? If you wanted to come on and make sure that you presented in a very polished and buttoned up kind of way, and now you feel more comfortable to be more yourself, I can completely understand that. But I'm still not seeing, even in this current season of you wanting to lean into this Martha Stewart homemaker kind of identity, I'm still not seeing that played out in your characterization. I'm not seeing that in your filming. And the fact that people are questioning it, well, people aren't going to take your dreams, your goals, your ambitions any more seriously than you do. So you want us to believe that you're serious about starting a home essentials line with a line of candles, but you didn't even register the name. You pride yourself on being so educated and being so, you know, intelligent and just knowing oh so much, but you didn't know that you needed to register the name or trademark or look up the availability of the name for these candles. You just spent money. You only have a paragraph written of a business plan. People are only going to take your business as seriously as you do. And I think that Eddie was quite nice in expressing that to her. I don't think that he was harsh. I don't think that he was unkind. It was just like, when you don't actually plan for a business venture, you end up just throwing money at the issue. And I can understand Eddie being like, let's maybe not do that. So I think he was, you know, quite kind in handling that. I continue to not enjoy the sex shaming, the sex worker shaming in the conversations about Mia. Gizelle made a slick comment when she was sitting down with Ashley, you know, post labor, and she said something about wanting to get to know Mia so that she could learn what not to do with her girls so that her girls don't end up doing the same thing as Mia. That's a really shitty thing to say. Number one, not all sex workers end up in sex work from a place of survival, or because they were homeless, or because they have daddy issues, or because they weren't properly parented. That's such a shitty thing to say about another woman. And they finally went out, you know, for cocktails, lunch, whatever, with Mia. And just as an aside, I cannot stand eating on a low table, especially if it's something that is not finger foods and I have to cut it. I hate that that's even like a thing at restaurants or lounges. Like the bending over of like eat it. Oh, I can't stand eating on a low table. Anyway, I appreciate, so, you know, Robyn and Gizelle show up, and then along comes Mia in her nighttime attire for a daytime lunch, which I am team overdressed. Get it how you live, especially during COVID when we didn't have reasons to get dressed up to go outside. You do whatever the hell you want to do, okay? I appreciate Mia's transparency and her vulnerability in getting to know these ladies. I appreciate her letting them know about her growing up in the foster care system, her mom, her parents having addiction issues, her and Robyn related on the note that Juan's parents passed away from AIDS associated with heroin use, so did Mia's dad, and there's connectivity there. What I have a problem with, though, is a person should not have to be that vulnerable in order for you to not judge them. I would appreciate it if we could operate from a place of knowing that everyone has a past, everyone has some semblance of trauma that impacts who they are. It would be more beneficial, I think, if we looked at the world as a library and everyone is books. You don't have the time to read everyone's book to determine the ins and outs of why they are the way that they are. And that has implications in and of itself, the story we tell ourselves. That's another video for another day. I just really take issue with the fact that Mia had to, and maybe this is just the nature of building friendships on reality TV, but in order to endear herself to these women or to prove herself to these women, she had to reveal the severe trauma that she went through, and is, oh, well, now we can accept you. Oh, well, now we can, something about that made me uncomfortable. And I love vulnerability. I love transparency. I love having deep and meaningful conversations with people. It's one of my favorite things, is to get to know someone where there is true vulnerability and safety there. Something about that interaction to me, it was her selling herself to them. And I am really exhausted with people feeling that they even need to sell themselves to Gizelle and Robyn. So that made me uncomfortable, but I also applaud Mia for her transparency, because I mean, that's what you're on the show for, so it's fine. Sorry if y'all can hear that helicopter. It sounds like they're looking for somebody near me, chair. So, while Gizelle is packing for this trip, I love that her kids never miss an opportunity to shade her. I think I tuned into this show specifically to watch Gizelle's daughters throw shade at her. I enjoy it so much because they're the only people who she'll just receive it from. So it's like the only time that you really see Gizelle be humble. And I'm not big on like humbling women, but some people do need like an ego check. So balance. Balance. Y'all remember that? Scarlett Takes a Tumble. Balance. Okay, so they're on the bus headed to Williamsburg. This is Candace's first trip that she's hosting, which, okay, awesome. The women kind of start having a conversation about their husbands watching their kids. I truly don't want to marry the kind of man that I cannot trust to parent his own children in my absence. That is so strange to me. That is such a bizarre thing that I think we have come to kind of accept, is that men are these reluctant fathers who they're these bumbling idiots who don't know how to parent their kids. I reject that. I don't like that. No to that. No. And Candace saying that she wants Robyn to have another baby. Based on what? I tend to, in as much as I can, I try to stay out of my friends' uteruses. Again, a lot of my friends are very transparent with me about their fertility and things. I don't ever put pressure on anybody. I don't ask people when you're going to have a kid. I do have like some running jokes with one of my friends that if they're like, oh, I was craving such and such, I'm like, oh, so you're pregnant. But it's a safe space to do that. I don't like that Candace even did that, but it's like, what about her and Juan's relationship makes you want her to have a baby with this man? And what about Robyn letting him shoot the club up? Oh, I let him leave it in this morning. Which I think if someone else had said that, Robyn and Gizelle would have been super judgy. But anyway, what about that relationship makes you want them to bring in another baby? And Robyn, for you, this man is criticizing you for being depressed. What about y'all's interaction makes you feel that you should have another baby? I found that real puzzling. This Williamsburg home is absolutely stunning. I want to go on maybe a 3-day trip. I want a private chef. The linens looked crisp and pristine. This house was stunning. So I always find it annoying that on all reality shows, whenever they come around to a trip, there's always drama with the sleeping arrangements. It's always like a battle of egos. And everyone feels like, oh, well, I have to have the best of the best. Well, this is a really nice home. Wherever you end up, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. Everything is not always about you. You are not always the center of attention. You are not always the star of everything. It's not like any of those bedrooms is going to be less than another one of them. I'm sorry. Did you see that home? I'm sorry. No. On the one hand, I can appreciate Mia being cool because it's always annoying to me, the back and forth of, oh, I don't want to do this. Well, I don't want to do this. On one hand, I can appreciate Mia being cool with Gizelle and Robyn kicking her out of her room. On the other hand, do not reinforce their belief that they run shit. Are you crazy? How dare you? Who do you think you are? And especially if someone had done that to them, they would have lost their shit. Like, you are not pledging. This is hazing. I do not like it. Like, how disgusting. And also, it takes so much energy to dislike someone. It takes so much energy to actively dislike someone that every time they come in the room, you got to turn up your nose. You got to make snide comments behind their back. You have to say shit under your breath. That takes so much energy. Ain't you tired, Miss Hilly? It always just makes me think about Viola Davis at the end of The Help. Ain't you tired, Miss Hilly? Ain't you tired? You know, I feel like Karen comes into the scene. She tries to be gracious with everyone. You know, she shares the, you know, I'm doing this thing. I would really like to invite you. I would like to invite you. Gizelle, I got to take a date. Why can't, even if you don't want to actively celebrate in something happening for her, why can't you just shut the hell up and let her have her moment? Did you want her to invite you? Because I know you wouldn't want her to go. It's all just such an ego thing. And this, I will give you that I don't think that Gizelle wished death on Karen's husband. I will give you that. I don't think that that's not a solid enough reason to me for Karen to have this level of frustration, anger, I'm not dealing with you, whatever, with Gizelle. I think Karen is just fed up with Gizelle's shit. Excuse me. And that's enough for me because I too. I'm okay with that. The reasoning, I'm not really buying. But what I also cannot stand is Robyn constantly coming in and caping for Gizelle. Like, shut up. Let her fight her own battle. She's an adult. She does not need the backup. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. The argument between Karen and Gizelle, look, y'all are just not each other's preferred brand of woman, and that's okay. We don't need to apologize about nothing. We don't need to blah, 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 so we can move forward. Some people you're not going to move forward with. Let it die. I don't want to keep trying to have this conversation and try to, some friendships just run out. Sometimes you just fed up with a bitch and her antics, and that's okay. Let it die. Y'all can coexist. Y'all do not have to be friends. And I honestly think that a part of Gizelle really actually wants for Karen to be her friend. I really think that a part of Gizelle wants for Karen to come hat in hand so that she will have permission to like her again. But no, I don't think Karen owes Gizelle a damn thing. And I'm happy to see that just go by the wayside. It's fine. I think the only person that Gizelle is capable of being a good friend to is Robyn, because Robyn bows down to Gizelle's desired pecking order. That's just what I think. And I'm over it. I'm ready for the next episode. Not that this one was bad. I'm just really ready for the next episode. I want the tea. The gestures that Robyn was making at the end, in the preview, but now I'm ready for it. I hope we get a little bit more camera time with Askale. I want to enjoy Askale. Just, you know, she's a new energy thrown in the mix. I'm not getting much from her yet. What I did get from her last episode, I was not here for. So I want to see some character development there. But those are my thoughts on this episode. Slide in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Why does Candace have beef with Ashley? Is Wendy overcompensating? Is Wendy having an early midlife crisis? Or is Wendy just doing what some women do these days and getting body work done and leaning into herself? Can Karen and Gizelle just end this? Just end this and move on. Yeah, slide in the comments. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe and share and send me some money if you want to. Send me some of your daddy's money. He wants you to do that. Do it on his behalf. He don't know how to work Cash App or Zelle. So help him out. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.